The Design Thinking Project, New Megal by Lucy, Oshby, Matthew, Evan, and George. Using the design thinking process, our group created New Megal, which is a spin off the website Omegle that randomly pairs users in one-on-one video chat sessions where they chat anonymously. College life has drastically changed since the coronavirus pandemic hit the globe. A public health crisis has brought alongside social turmoil and economic uncertainty. This has negatively impacted students, faculty, and administration. Our task was to define a current education problem due to these circumstances and solve the problem using the design thinking process. Specifically, the problem we defined had to fall under the category of recreating the college experience while apart. We had to solve our problem in 5 phases: the empathize phase, the define phase, the ideate phase, prototype phase, and lastly, the test phase.
One of the first things we did as part of our project was identify our target user group. For our project, we chose freshmen at Northeastern. A couple of common characteristics we identified within our target group was that most freshmen are generally uninformed, all of them are new to campus this year, and many of them are disoriented or disconnected from the community, especially remote students who will be coming to campus for the first time in January. On top of this, we determined that freshmen at Northeastern want to meet new people, want to keep up their good grades, and also want to feel like they're involved in campus life. Given the weird nature of our first year here at school, we identified that people in our target group may struggle to meet new people or possibly to balance work and school. Finally, members of our target group generally identify socially as younger college students. We found most of our information about our target group through the interview phase of our project. Each group member interviewed a freshman here at Northeastern, asking them all sorts of questions, and we were able to conclude that most freshmen here struggled with meeting new people on campus. In addition to consulting these articles, this step inspired us to create a solution that addresses this problem.
So for the define phase of our project, our POV statement was we were targeting the users, which were the freshmen at Northeastern, and the needs that we were targeting were the need for social connections and the creation of relationships. And pretty much the insight was that we know that it's been a struggle, especially during COVID, to find friends that have similar interests to you or just find people in general and to create relationships in college. So we wanted to create something that could help with this process. So for our how might we question, it was pretty much how might we create a safe way to create more connections in the social network of freshmen at Northeastern. And this question is open-ended because there isn't just one way to do this. As you'll see later, we thought of a lot of different ideas on how this is possible, and we selected one in the end, but there's just a lot of ways to do it. And then we said it was also concrete because increasing connections can be measured, because we can ask users after using the program like how successful they were in finding people. And then lastly, for our consideration of other users, obviously this project isn't just for freshmen, it's just for anyone or pretty much any class who is, or any group of people that are struggling with making connections can use the app.
Once we defined our problem with the point of view statement and a how might we question, we decided to start ideating. Ideation is the creative process of generating, developing, and communicating new ideas. Our method of ideation was brainstorming, where you generate as many ideas as possible within a time set limit, and we did this with our ideation worksheet. Our group had jotted down around 10 different ideas and ended up picking one, but some of the other ideas included a website where you could play games with other students, and also a web page where students can make virtual events and anyone can go to them. But by a general consensus and taking a poll on Zoom, we decided to choose an idea, and that idea was obviously New Megal. Our chosen idea was to create a similar app to Omegle, but specifically for Northeastern students. In the app, you get paired with a random Northeastern student and you can chat online, anonymously, or with your real name. Our reasoning for choosing this idea is that Omegle is already a popular website, but we're making it more relevant to Northeastern students. It addresses concerns that many students have about finding ways to make friends during these unprecedented times. We also think it's unique and also more safe than Omegle.
All right, so for our prototyping, we had several different versions of the app, but our first one was in the sketch format. We thought that this would be the clearest way to communicate early on what exactly we had in mind for this project and where we wanted to take things. But of course, this was a very basic design. There was a lot of work to be done, So this led us to our second iteration, this time designed on Adobe XD. Of course, this looks much more like an app you could actually use. It is much further developed, and a bunch of new features were added in. But of course, this was not yet exactly what we had in mind. There was still some stuff to change. And after receiving some TA feedback, we developed our third iteration of the product. This time, the color scheme had changed to match Northeastern's traditional color scheme. We also added in the My Northeastern login we've all become used to using, and a couple more features just to really add to the product and make it much more marketable and actually usable.
Test phase. We tested with 3 people: a target user, Liam Brister, a TA, Samantha Goldstein, and a Corey professor, Lainey Strange. We got an array of positive feedback and negative feedback that was really helpful for us in refining our prototype. For the positive feedback, most people said that the low-key aspect of Numegle was really helpful and that it was a lot less formal than existing apps like Zoom. They also said that it would help to connect Northeastern students, and particularly first-year and remote students. We also received some negative feedback and potential ideas to make our app better. First of all, it was said that there weren't any clear exits to leave the chat room and that the video boxes were too small. It was also suggested that we should add a report button and that we should add the ability to add your major and year. We incorporated the feedback on our first 2 prototypes into our third prototype by adding a leave button and expanding the video window. We incorporated the feedback on our third prototype into our final iteration by adding a report button and the option to add your year, major, and residence hall. One social identity we considered when redesigning our prototype was country of residence. We want to have features that allow the app to be asynchronous to accommodate for people who live outside the United States. Here's our final product. We added the option to select major, year, and residence hall, and we added a report button.
Alright, so I'm just going to take everyone through a walkthrough of our final prototype, just to kind of show what using the app would feel like if it was eventually developed. So when you first open the app, you're greeted with this login screen. At the top it says Numegle, and then we've got the familiar My Northeastern login. So you can log in with your My Northeastern username and password. And this is really helpful, I think, because it makes sure that only Northeastern students can use the app. And that makes it more secure than Omegle, because there can be any type of random person who may be lying about who they are. So this kind of prevents that and makes sure that, it's a safe environment just with Northeastern students. And in the future, we'd like to expand to having other colleges and being able to have other college logins, but for right now, we just envision it working for Northeastern students. So if you click login, you're brought to this screen. You're prompted by the text asking, what do you want to talk about? And you can choose your major, your year, your residence hall, and you can also add your interests. So that can help you connect with people who may be the same major or live in the same hall or just have similar interests to you. But that's all completely optional. If you'd rather just begin chatting right away, you can start chatting by clicking text or video. So if you click text, that takes you to a text chat screen. It matches you with a random person. Right here, it says you're both interested in soccer. So that's like in the case if you typed in soccer into the interest box. And you have a little text window where you can chat with them. And at the bottom, you've got 3 buttons. So you can add David63 as a friend. You can leave, which just takes you right back to the home screen. Or you can click this report button. So in the case that, David is, acting in a way that doesn't comply with Northeastern standards, or just, for any type of reason, you can click this report button to make sure that doesn't happen with anyone else. So let's say we leave, and we could also click the video button. So if we click that, we've got a video chat, somewhat similar to like FaceTime. So we've got your screen up in the top right, and then whoever you're randomly matched with, you can see their face cam, whatever, in the screen. And then there's also a smaller window where you can text chat as well, just in case you have to be muted or something like that. And again, you have the options to add as a friend, leave, or report. So that's pretty much the basic layout of the final prototype and what we hope to expand upon in the future.
Now here's just a final visual of all 4 screens side by side that Lucy had just spoken about.
Reflection. Our final product is a wireframe of an app. If we were to create a true final version of this solution, we would need to develop an actual app. This would require learning about mobile app development and acquiring the proper tools to do so. Our main takeaways from this project was that feedback from multiple sources is incredibly helpful. Also, it's important to consider different social identities when developing a solution. When we're all working on projects in Corey in the future, we'll keep these takeaways in mind.